Hello, my name is Andrea. Welcome back. And today I want to talk to you all about the third grade. My third grade son is my oldest, and I have been homeschooling him from the get-go. Now that we're planning for our fourth grade year, I can kind of take a moment and look back. And I just want to say, first of all, before I get into like a heavy review of the stuff that we have used for third grade and my thoughts on it. Basically, my biggest regret is caring a little too much about the curriculum itself. As kind of a curriculum nerd, I can get very excited about the curriculum, but I do have some regrets about the younger years that I was a little too concerned maybe about making sure I have just the right curriculum and spending maybe a little too much time on that. So I would just encourage you to find something that you think will work. I certainly want to continue guiding him in the classical Christian direction. Personally, my own reasons on homeschooling my kids is I'm trying to glorify God. I'm trying to do the best that I can with the kids that He has given me. I just want them to grow up and be believing Christians. That's my ultimate goal. But it is really fun to talk about curriculum. And so I know why you are here today. So let's talk about the third grade. When I was ordering third grade stuff last summer, I was in the middle of an international move. My family moved from Virginia and now we live in England. And I bought the box set. I've never bought a box set of curriculum in my life, but I was impressed with things that I have used from Memoria Press. And so I just went ahead and bought the box set because I was driving myself crazy planning all of these little things. I also was reading some books that was making me change my mind about certain things. So I was like, you know what? I just need to stop the madness, get the box set, get this done, and we'll see how it goes for the third grade. So it was a lot. I didn't use a lot of what came in the third grade curriculum from Memoria Press, but what I did use, we did really love. And so I'm going to share with you today the things that we loved and some other things that we used in addition to Memoria Press for third grade. I will also let you know that I have read some of Charlotte Mason's books. I've read some books about Charlotte Mason, and I'm kind of down that path now, and I am kind of Charlotte Masonifying the things that we do. So you'll kind of see some of those changes that I have made even while using some of the Memoria Press stuff. So things that we used from Memoria Press that we really love. First of all, the math from Memoria Press is rod and staff. At first, he didn't really like this because last year he used math with confidence. He really liked that. He liked all the games. He looked forward to it because he was playing games with mom. This math, there were no games. And what he really, really hated at the beginning was that, in most of these lessons, it says to copy an answer. So you would have to write out all of this on a separate sheet of paper and then answer it. And it was just drudgery for him. The simple change that I made, since he was pretty good, like he knew all of the information, I just started having him write the answers to it, unless it was like something like this, where if he didn't write it all out, he was not going to do well on that equation. On the kind of the simple math facts portions of it, I just had him write the answer. It was just a change that I made, and it made all the difference. He stopped hating it. He started to like it again. Anyway, so we're plugging along. I think that rod and staff is super solid for a math program. We are, just full disclosure, I'm making a change for next year. We're going back to the math with confidence, just because I made that decision before I made the change. And I went ahead and ordered it because I was like, I want him to love math again. But what is kind of funny about this is that once I made the change where he was just basically writing the answers and he didn't have to write all those math facts all the time, he started really liking this. And the results, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, he knows his math facts. So if getting your math facts solid into your kids is important, then this is a fantastic option. I also think that math with confidence is too. So, take your pick. But this is really good. Okay, the other thing, this is basically why we love Memoria Press, which is their Latin program. So I used Prima Latina with my son in the second grade. This year for third grade, we moved into Latina Christiana. I love it. I love everything about it. They do solid work when it comes to Latin. My main criticism of Memoria Press is that it's pretty workbook heavy, with especially with like the books that they read in the literature course and all kinds of things. Seems like there's a workbook for everything, which isn't terrible. It's just that for me in our homeschool, it's kind of too much. But he fills in every blank when it comes to the Latin program because every question is necessary. I love how he's gone a little extra over here. I don't know. This Latin program is so solid. I will give you the best recommendation I can possibly give you. Last week, we were in Italy for vacation. One of the reasons we came to England is because there's so much amazing regional travel. Last week we went to Italy, and there's so much Latin everywhere in Italy. My son was constantly picking out what the Latin was saying. And he's a little more than halfway done with Latina Christiana, but the type of vocabulary that they have you learning in this is exactly what you would need to kind of get by on a history walk through ancient Italy. Again, he wasn't reading it, but he was picking out enough to get the understanding of what this is about. I was just gobsmacked on how good of an education he's getting through the Memoria Press Latin program. I mean, really, really good. So for third grade, it comes like for third and fourth grade, but there's a student workbook, there's review worksheets, and then there's games and puzzles. And we use all of it. It's one of the things that I don't skip a day of. I don't skip the Latin. I don't skip the math. I also don't skip Spanish. So that's kind of where I'm very kind of, I prioritize the language stuff and the math stuff. I ordered Prima Latina again to use with my daughter for next year. But also I will recommend that knowing some Spanish before he even started, it was just all the more helpful to learn Latin. But you get started on anyone can get started on this Latin program. I knew not a lick of Latin at all. It has been amazing. It's really easy to teach. They also have what comes with the Latina Christiana is a streaming teacher teaching the class, which is great because I like to listen to it as he's doing it as well and hearing how she's pronouncing things. So Memoria Press Latin. It's really, really good. Another thing that he has loved this year is the Book of Greek Myths. So he's, this far through. We're into March right now. I think that they break this up into 2 years in the curriculum manual, but this is kind of the change that I make just because to try to format it to our own homeschool. I stopped having him do the workbook that goes along with this. And instead what I do is I do the Charlotte Mason method of he reads a story out of it, like the Titans. So he'll read the Titans, he'll narrate back to me what he read, and I'll also take advantage of, this is what came with the box curriculum, the flashcards. I'll just review with him some of the flashcards information to make sure that he's keeping some of those facts in the top of mind. But I have found that with him narrating back to me and really making the story his own, he remembers everything. And I haven't found that the worksheets have been super necessary. That's just me. So he loves this. For third grade, he was on his third workbook on cursive. And I would say that it has been a success using the new American Cursive program. He writes everything in cursive. He doesn't, like his handwriting can still use some work. It's not too bad. He's working on it, but he does use the cursive for everything that he does, and he's able to write really fast. So I think that New American Cursive is a good, solid program. For third grade language arts, it came with this language arts program, and in the curriculum guide, it had him starting kind of in the middle. But when I looked at it, I was like, actually, let's start from the beginning. And so that's what I did, because it has just been a great, straightforward grammar program. What are the parts of speech? Let's really get those into our heads. So I have really enjoyed how straightforward it is. I would have him do a page or two a day, and we're going to be able to get through it no problem. I went ahead and ordered the grade 4 version for this through Memoria Press for next year as well. I liked it so much. So I really thought that this was a solid grammar instruction guide. This was also really good because since we focus so much on language, I have realized as an adult now that why foreign language didn't really stick with me as I was learning it in high school. I didn't have a solid understanding of my own English grammar. And so I wasn't understanding what a suffix is and what a pronoun is. I mean, truly easy things like that. I didn't really have a firm, solid understanding of that, which I think is why learning Spanish was such a struggle for me, and why it has been actually way easier now for me to practice learning Spanish as an adult. It's not because I'm an adult, it's because I'm a homeschool mom, and I'm understanding what these parts of speech do and how to recognize them even in a foreign language. So this has been really good, even for his foreign language acquisition. Another thing that we got from Memoria Press that I'm actually shocked that my son is enjoying it so much is the poetry. He's really, really liking it. We go through this book, and again, I don't really follow the guide, but I'll probably do one lesson a week. I read the poem one day, the next day I will read it again, and what he has really enjoyed doing is to break down the structure of the poem, the organization of it, and write it again on his own, and then he can really understand. It's like, oh, the first two lines always rhyme, and then the next two lines rhyme with each other, but they're different from the first two lines. And so he's been enjoying kind of understanding the composition of the poetry. But also I like how he's able to kind of break it down in that way without critiquing it. This poetry program is really about seeing the beauty in the poetry and see how it is constructed, so that again, might help you in constructing your own verse. But it's not critiquing the poetry. He does do the student guide with the poetry, and he has the book. It has been really good. When it came to the literature program for third grade with Memoria Press, my son did read all of the books. There were 3. So it was Farmer Boy, Charlotte's Web, and the Moffats. And they each come with their own student guide where you fill in the blank, comprehension, vocabulary questions, stuff like that. I ended up not using the guides, but he read all of the books. It wasn't for us, for one, because it made him not want to read the book. He was already doing so much other writing with other things that I was having him do that it was just a little too much. I wanted him to read the book and really comprehend it. So what we did was the Charlotte Mason method of narration. Every time he would read a chapter, he would come back and retell it to me. I mean, it solidifies everything in the child's mind when they're able to tell it back. Charlotte Mason said that if you can't tell something, you don't actually know something, which is where the premise of this book comes from. So if you're new to the Charlotte Mason method, this is a great book because narration is kind of a critical piece of Charlotte Mason's method of education. And Charlotte Mason is super classical. Don't let anybody tell you different. I mean, if you actually read her stuff, we're going with the classical curriculum of content of what to learn. It's just a different method of how to do it. Instead of a lot of worksheets, there's a heavy emphasis on narration and written narration and telling back what you know, connecting your own dots, really. Now, I would use the guides sometimes to help after he would narrate. I didn't want to interrupt him or anything, but after he would narrate, I might pick out a few of the questions and ask him, and he would just answer it. So we read the books. They were great picks, but he didn't do the student guides, which also allowed him a lot of extra time to read a lot of other books. So we read a lot of the books on the Ambleside Online website that went along with grade 3. Let me pull out my planner and see if there's anything else that I missed on the things. Just so that you know, I mean, we got the box set of Memoria Press curriculum and we used a lot of it. Everything that I just told you about, we used, we liked, we really appreciated. Things that we used that were not from Memoria Press were things like our Spanish and other read aloud stuff, piano lessons, just so that you know, because I am a huge, huge fan. We live out in the middle of nowhere country, but I really have this desire that my kids learn how to play the piano. There's no piano lessons to get to. It's really hard to find activities for them out here. But Masterbooks Academy, so masterbooks.com, they have an online academy where they have some music lessons that you can do from home, and they are incredibly affordable. It's for like what is essentially a year's worth of piano lessons. So we love Memoria Press. I have ordered a lot of stuff for his 4th grade year. Also, some of the things that came with 3rd grade, you continue on into the 4th grade. Ultimately, do your best on ordering the curriculum and try not to stress out about it. My biggest regrets are stressing too much about the curriculum and not just embracing. If it's a sunny day and it has been a rainy season, set it aside and go outside and play. That's what I wish that I had done more of, and that is my goal with my kids this next year, is to just realize that these are kind of the last years of them being truly just young kids, and to just continue on with the curriculum, but also to not let those moments pass by, to set it aside and have some fun. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.